This is the reoccurring musical element in You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love by Olivia Rodrigo. PowerPoint presented and made by Hannah Butler. You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love uses a lot of elements of timbre, dynamics, rhythm, and musical tension to create a cohesive emotional journey exploring both love and heartbreak. The album is split into two different sections, Girl So in Love and You Seem Pretty Sad. Girl So in Love is the love, joyful, happier songs, whilst You Seem Pretty Sad is the more depressing, heartbroken songs. The songs I chose to analyze include Drop Dead, You Plus Me Equals Heart, Purple, and Begged. The first two songs, Drop Dead and You Plus Me Equals Heart, emphasize the optimistic Girl So in Love side, whereas Purple and Begged emphasize the melancholy in the second You Seem Pretty Sad side of the album, while both maintaining a musical pattern that remains very similar throughout. The first subject is the timbre of the songs, which is the unique quality of the songs. Main examples within the album include distorted electrical guitars, synthesizers, electronic drums, and layering instrumentals. Drop Dead has the distorted guitar and a lot of strong drums. You Plus Me Equals Heart has much clearer guitar sounds, and a few more acoustic guitar sounds. However, it still includes a lot of synth in it, and it still includes some electric guitar. It's just less prominent. Purple has a calmer, quieter instrumentals, mostly of a more acoustic instruments, and a kind of dreamy quality to it where the voice of her singing blends into the background music a little. And Begged has almost completely acoustic music and a lot of vocal backing and harmonizing with the main vocals. Even though the songs I just discussed have very different moods to all of them and different instrumental sounds, they are all the same instruments, and a lot of notes kind of stay similar throughout the album, creating a sort of unity. The dynamics, which are the volume and the intensity changes for Drop Dead, includes a loud chorus and lots of increasing in intensities. For You Plus Me Equals Heart, it builds up before the chorus and again increases in intensity slowly. For Purple, there's a lot less range throughout the song, but there are slight gradual intensity increases, and Begged uses the quiet parts of the song to increase the emotional impact and create a more devastating tone and mood whilst listening to it. Throughout the songs on the album, the drums will build up before the main chorus and a lot of instruments join in. The guitar gets more dynamic, meaning that the guitar starts playing more notes throughout, and then it'll drop, kind of creating an emotional peak whilst the chorus is going on, and then a plummet back to how it was initially once the chorus is done, and it continues to rise and fall like this as like a hill throughout the entire playlist and throughout almost all the songs on the playlist. Next you have the rhythm, which are the pattern of beats over time, and the duration, which is how long notes are held. Drop Dead has a lot of percussion, where it's short notes layered on top of long ones to give you a kind of giddy feel and to show the upbeat mood and just kind of emphasize that this is the beginning of the not only album but the relationship portrayed in the album, and that it's still kind of a honeymoon phase throughout. You plus me equals heart has faster, continuous beats that get you excited, and this girl in this part of the album is kind of fully in love, and it's kind of portraying this through just this fast beats that are constantly going. Whereas Purple is a lot slower and there are a lot more pauses to kind of let the despair of the relationship falling sink into you and make you gain a bit of the sadness. Begged is a lot calmer and the notes are a lot longer to portray the desperation in the song and to kind of emphasize the desperation in her voice and in the musical elements. There's a lot of longing and a lot of struggling to accept that she gave herself to this relationship. Next, there's the expectation and the tension. The album builds a lot of tension um, throughout the songs in the same way I was talking before about the drums building up and a lot of chord progression, a lot of building instruments and crescendos throughout the songs. And they all kind of follow the similar pattern, which causes an expectation. You hear more instruments start to join, and you start expecting the song to kind of reach the chorus and reach a more, not upbeat per se, but a louder, kind of more passionate part. Especially on the second half of the album, um, most specifically in songs like Begged or Less, some of the songs will have kind of delayed instrumentals or longer pauses to keep the engagement in the slower song and to enhance the more desperate and sadder moods that are being displayed. Next, there are a lot of aesthetics throughout the album. There's a lot of consistent styles, including the electric instruments, lots of bass guitar, a lot of synth, and kind of live acoustic instrumentals layered behind it, not so much in the forefront, which gives throughout the album lots of layered instrumentals. And as you notice listening to the album, the second half, as the relationship is kind of being portrayed as falling apart, there's a lot more acoustic guitar and it's a lot more natural, I suppose. Unlike the beginning where she's incredibly happy and there's a lot of electric and upbeat, lots more drums in the first half. There isn't a lot of that in the second half, kind of giving the sadder aesthetic and enhancing the mood that's being given. There's also a lot of 80s rock inspiration in the album. For example, the first half, or the first about minute of You plus Me equals Heart, takes a lot of inspiration from Who Can It Be Now by Men at Work. The beat of the song sounds very similar. A lot of the inspiration to the album, Olivia Rodrigo said, came from artists like The Cure and just lots of 80s rock. And as portrayed in this picture, there's even a song with Robert Smith, the lead singer of The Cure, called What's Wrong With Me on the album, which really emphasizes where she took this inspiration from. And then there's the melody. There's a lot of instrumental patterns that have previously been discussed, and a lot of similar melodies. Even though the songs sound different, the melodies are very similar and the chord progressions are very similar to each other. And this mostly includes very low notes followed by just loud, shorter high notes. And this just kind of remains throughout the album. This follows throughout. So, in conclusion, throughout you seem pretty sad for a girl so in love. there's a lot of reoccurring instrumental and production techniques to kind of unify the album, even though each song has its own individual taste and emotion in it. There's a very cohesive sound throughout the album, making songs that might be completely different to each other sound like they belong together and sound like they portray the story better. And then I have my references for the photos.